So today we're going to be talking about my little secret that I use to outline and edit my current work in progress, which is a Project Road Trip. And I'm really going to take you behind the scenes into how exactly I outlined it and how I'm using this secret little tool to make my life much, much easier when it comes to editing, which is the current stage I am in right now. You've heard of Story Bibles. It's a binder full of all this information about your book, and it's kind of like that, but it's digital. So think digital story Bible, and that's what we're going into today. Hello everyone, my name is Mandy Lynn. I'm an author, book cover designer, and the creator of the Book Launch Planner. And if you want weekly videos on the business of being an author and making money, doing what you love, then be sure to hit that subscribe button as well as the bell notification icon so you never miss an upload. So I'm extremely happy to say that today's video is sponsored by Campfire. Now you guys may have heard me talk about Campfire in the past. I used to use their software called Campfire Pro. It's a software that you can download. I will link to a video where I actually talked about Campfire Pro in the past, but today we're talking about Campfire Blaze. So they have two different softwares. One's Pro, one's Blaze. Today we're talking about Blaze, and Blaze is what I use to outline my novel, and it's what I'm using to make the editing process much, much easier because it is basically a digital story binder, and that's why I love it so much. So rather than tell you about it, I'm just gonna go ahead and show you what I mean. So let's head over to my office. You should know that I cleaned up my desk before filming because it was very messy. Alright, so I've got Campfire Blaze pulled up on my computer. If you would like to follow along, you can go to campfireblaze.com. You can create an account and play around there. But I'm gonna show you what I have set up, and I'm not gonna show you everything. Let's be real. Some of this info is top secret. I don't want spoilers. So if you ever see a part of the video that's blurred, that's why. But I'm gonna try to show you as much as I can, and you will also learn a little bit more about Project Road Trip at the same time. Okay, so here we are on my project homepage. You can create your own little homepage. For me, I added in this image. I did create this image off of Canva, but you can also just change out the image by clicking the three dots. So you'll learn pretty quickly that those three dots are your key to customizing everything here in Campfire Blaze. And trust me, you can customize everything. So this is the home page. Eventually, right down here where you see enter some text, I'm gonna put the book blurb, but I don't have a book blurb yet. I have like a work in progress one, and I would paste it in there, but I don't want you guys to see it, so I left it blank for now. And then you can create a little pinned module right here. I pinned the one for this 1978 VW bus, and that is because that bus is a very important thing for the book, because without it there is no story. Let's put it that way. It's called Project Road Trip after all. That's not the official title, by the way. And then down here it just kind of tells me what I've recently done, so you can scroll through that if you want. But the first thing we're gonna do is that we're gonna go over to characters, and there's two different, you can either view just the characters or the relationships of the characters. So we're gonna go to the characters first. So as you can see, I have a long list of characters, and basically what I did is I created some of these while I was outlining, but I'm a messy person in the sense that when I was outlining, I only had a week to outline it because this was my NaNoWriMo project, and I decided I was going to do this a week before NaNoWriMo, so I very, very quickly outlined this book. And so when I was doing a quick read, as I was reading it, I was adding all these characters in, I was updating the plot and the timeline that's here in Campfire Blaze. So this is basically like just a handbook of my book. So whenever I'm writing or editing, I can reference everything in here and figure out, okay, what did I say in the last chapter? And really just have everything in my back pocket. So the cool thing here is that these are all the characters, and I haven't organized it yet because I wanted to do some stuff with you guys. So what you can do is that you can actually create a folder, and we're gonna right click and rename it. And let's see, who should we'll do it main characters, because there's really only a few. We've got our big main characters. I did create a character profile for the bus, so don't judge me. Let's see, so once it turns that little orange, that means you're dropping it in. So we have Marley, she's our protagonist, so she belongs in there. Dylan, I'm not gonna say who he is, but you might be able to figure it out. And then Lori's her BFF. So those are basically our main characters right here. So originally in the book, the vehicle of choice was a Sprinter van, and then I changed my mind to a VW bus for a long list of reasons. But as you can see, I created this little character profile for the van, and since it's no longer in the book, I'm just gonna remove that. So then I created a folder for maternal family, and we're gonna put in all of those characters in that bundle. And lastly, we're gonna do side characters. So basically the overflow is everyone else. So yeah, now everything's a little more organized, so if I ever need anything, I can access my main characters right here. Their profiles are the ones that are more built up anyways, so 9 times out of 10, they're the ones I'm looking for. So I'm gonna open that folder now and go to Marley Price, which is our MC, and this will be embarrassing if down the line her name ends up changing or any of these stuff ends up changing. But here's her nice little profile. It's built out and all of that. So I have a bad habit of not putting a short description for most things, or if I do put a short description, that's all I put. I either fill out this area or I only fill out this area to the side, but you get the idea. I'm a very simple person. I use this software on a very like surface level, so just know there is so much more you can do in here that I'm not going to show you today. I have a contemporary novel. It only has so much stuff, whereas like you see this little world icon, look at all this stuff you can do. You can do your locations, have an encyclopedia, your magic system, cultures, philosophies, all of this stuff that I'm not going to touch today because it's not relevant to my book is stuff you can do in this software. But basically I have my basic info and then personality traits, physical attributes, some notes to myself like, oh, she used to work at TJ Maxx and dropped out of college after her parents died. Ooh, now you guys know that. And then I have some backstory here that we are going to blur out, but you get the idea. And I think the really nice part here is that you can, if you're really into finding photos of your characters, you can add the photos and anything else. So whenever you want to add in another module, you go to this little plus icon at the bottom, and you can add a text panel, stats, image panel, basic info panel, list panel, table panel, and then a links panel. My personal favorite is the image panel just because I am a very visual person, and you'll see me use it a lot more later on. So if you ever want to go to a different character, you can just hit the list icon down here and it'll bring up that little side panel again. And if you're curious what the bus looks like, here it is real quick. Like I said, it's not as filled out, but this is kind of what the interior of the bus is supposed to look like. It's livable. And then I made some notes for myself, like what year it was, what it looks like, what the interior of it looks like. You get the idea. This is quite literally a story Bible in the sense of when I'm working and editing, if I get to a chapter where all of a sudden there's a mention of some item in the bus that I've never mentioned before, or now the seat was on the left side of the door, but now it's on the right side of the door, all of it is here so I can see what the actual correct or what I deem as correct spot is. So next we're going to go to plot. So you have your timeline and your arcs. I personally haven't figured out the arcs section yet, but it's really cool. I've seen it in action before. I just personally haven't had the time to go in and apply it to my story. But feel free to check out Campfire. They have their own YouTube channel, so go to their YouTube channel, have a ball with that. They have some tutorials. I will link their tutorial playlist down below because they will do a much better job explaining than I do. Plus, I, again, only use this on a surface level. So if you're the type of person that really, really loves stuff like story Bibles, because this is really, I've never used a physical story Bible. I've never done a story Bible in that sense before, so this is all a first for me. But let's go to the timeline. So here I have 3 different timelines. One is for travel, one is the Save the Cat beats, and then the last one is a chapter by chapter outline. And I just kind of, when I set it up, I screwed up and accidentally started everything to the right over here. So now when I go in, I just have to scroll a little. But you can see the different timelines and how they line up. So this story, because it's Project Road Trip, it's all about one big giant road trip. So as my characters are traveling, I have that travel timeline here just so I can see, oh, this is where we are in the story. And then on top of that, I like to have the Save the Cat beats just because I like to really visualize where exactly the beats are in the story so I can tell if something is dragging out too much, if things are happening too fast. So as you can see, we have 4 beats right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and they all happen in the span of chapter 26 and chapter 27. So they're happening one after the other, which is natural for these type of beats, but they're happening a little bit too fast. So I want, when I go in and edit, one of the things I'm gonna do is I'm gonna maybe take my time a little bit more and make it not so sped up. So that's why I like using this while I'm editing, because I can really just reference everything and be like, okay, this Save the Cat beat took long, or this Save the Cat beat happened too fast, that sort of deal. And these are the same sort of way where if I click on one of these, it will open up its own little panel and have all those little modules so you can take notes. You can really go into detail like what items were involved in this chapter, what characters were involved in this chapter. I personally don't do that because, again, I'm a simple person. I like things simple. But it's an option that you have. And in fact, you may even see there are dates here, like December 2020. I didn't learn about this until after, because I started using this software without actually watching a tutorial. I just kind of free-brained it. But if you hit this little 3-dot icon here, you can edit your timeline and you can decide like what time frame you want to work in. So I didn't realize that until much later, but if you do that, then down here you can customize what date everything is happening. So most of these dates on these modules are wrong, and I might update them later and get really specific with them, because there is another module in here somewhere where I went really specific with what days exactly happened in what chapters. So I might update my timeline eventually to match that and to make it even more visual. But one of my favorite parts, and let me show you exactly why I created a timeline just for the travel, is because you can add images. So I don't have any for Seattle, Washington, because it was literally just she went to the airport. But Lake Stevens, she went to go visit family, so I wanted to get visual, and as you can see, I added image for the view of where they're staying. They're staying at this beautiful lake house, and then I wanted to add the view. Now in my head, this isn't exactly how the lake house looks, but it's pretty close, so I was like, I'm gonna work with this. But this is exactly what the view looks like. It's Lake Stevens in Washington State. So I thought that was cool. And then another one is when she goes to Mount Rainier. And as you can see, I added images, and I mentioned all of these places in the book. So I added these images so I could make sure when I was writing that it was as visually accurate as possible. So I'm going to show you guys how you can do this. So we're just going to go into Yellowstone because I haven't added any of the images in yet. So if you want to add in images, you hit that little plus icon, hit the images panel, and we can add in an image now. So I have already picked out the photos. We've got Old Faithful right here, and it will load in at the bottom. I'm gonna choose that, and we're just gonna label it Old Faithful. And we're gonna add in another, and we're just gonna move it right along there. And let's see, we'll do Morning Glory. So there is Morning Glory Hole. I just call it Morning Glory because it's a weird name. So now we're gonna do Grand Prismatic Spring. These are all in Yellowstone, a place I've never been, but now really badly want to go because of obvious research reasons. And the last one is Lamar Valley, at least I believe that's how you say it. So here's all the things that I need to visualize for when I'm writing about Yellowstone. So we've got Old Faithful, Morning Glory, Grand Prismatic Spring, and Lamar Valley. So whenever I want to reference those, they're here. And now I'm just gonna X out. And yeah, so I can hop around and see all these images. And then like I mentioned, there's all of the world things that you can customize. But the last thing I want to point out, which is really, really cool because this is the part of me that gets really excited about the having those images. But when you go to write, you can go to your manuscript. I only have one chapter in here so far because this is a feature that I didn't discover until after I was done writing. So now I have two computer screens, so actually when I'm editing, I have my manuscript open here and then Campfire Blaze opened on this other screen. But for future books, I'm just gonna write directly in Campfire Blaze because it has this feature where you don't need the two screens. What is great here is that you can write in Campfire Blaze, and then if you need to reference something, you don't have to leave your manuscript, you don't have to open these other tabs. You can just click the Find Element and you can find whatever module you're referencing. So if you're like, oh my god, what does my main character look like again? Find her. So here she is right here, Marley Price. We're gonna hit choose, and now we have all the overview stuff. So if I hit the little view basics, I have, okay, this is her name, gender, sexuality, she's middle class, and she took a half semester of college. So, and then down here are the arrows where I can flip through everything. And then if I want to view something else, like I don't need this character anymore, I would rather look at the little module I set up for Yellowstone. So I can hit those three dots again and choose Find Another Element. And I will just go to, it would be under Events, and just find Yellowstone. And you can also use the search icon up here. So Yellowstone is right there. We're gonna choose it, and we have all these little modules that we created for ourselves. So I'm gonna hit it so I can view it, and there it is right there. And now I can use the arrow to flip through. So if I want these visuals while I'm writing, they're right there. And it makes it so much easier. You have your little notepad down here that you can take notes for yourself. If you wanted to, off to the left here, you can do a quick overview of what this chapter is about. But yeah, I just think that's super cool. I've never seen that before. I wish it was something I discovered earlier. I feel like this is something that's more helpful when you're writing more than when you're editing. But yeah, I just thought that was really neat. So obviously outlining wise, I use this to come up with what my characters look like, get a general idea of everything, and then I create the basic timeline, which is usually just these Save the Cat beats. That's how I outline. I don't like going scene by scene. I like just knowing what the Save the Cat beats are, and then I kind of pants the rest of it from there. And then after I finish the first draft, I open up Campfire Blaze again, and I do a fast read through, and as I'm doing a fast read through, I keep Campfire Blaze open and I take notes on everything and add a lot more detail into Campfire Blaze. And then once I'm done the fast read through, I decide a little bit more on what extra details I need to decide on. Like maybe I forgot to describe what a character looked like, or I didn't describe a setting well. So I add all those details into Campfire Blaze. That way while I'm writing, I can reference them and make sure that everything is cohesive and I'm describing everything the same way, rather than one chapter I have a sub character that's blonde and then in the next chapter she's a redhead. So yeah, I genuinely love Campfire Blaze. In fact, next week you will see an editing vlog from me, and in that vlog I might even reference Campfire Blaze a few times because like I said, this is something that I actually use. It's not something that I'm just talking about out of the blue. It's a tool that I use, it's a tool I enjoy, and it's cool, and I think it's something that, especially for people that write fantasy where you've got a lot of world building involved, I feel like this is something that could be extremely helpful. So I hope you guys liked this video. If there are any tools that you use that help you editing and outlining and writing, be sure to share them down below. If you've tried out Campfire Blaze before, let me know. Let me know what you thought of it. And as always, be sure to hit the subscribe button, and thank you all for watching.